discrimination. There's no preferences in heaven. Everyone is met with perfect equality, and together that creates our holy self. And trying to place that in the visual domain, well, this is just one effort to try to illustrate that on the visual domain. So we have a section today that you can really take to heart called the meeting place. And this is referenced in the workbook lessons 97, where it talks about the meeting place. And I find it to be a place that is within you, within your holy mind, a place that you may not have realized is there. And the purpose of this reading will be to point it out to you so that you know it's there, and then also to encourage you to find that place within you called the meeting place. So before we move on, let's spend a moment reviewing what we read at the end of the previous section. Welcome to Miracles on High Plains. My name is Jonica, and Susie is our reader tonight.
Now you are merely asked that you pursue another goal with far less vigilance, with little effort and with little time, and with the power of God maintaining it and promising success. To the dedication to the truth as God established it, no sacrifice is asked, no strain called forth, and all the power of heaven and the might of truth itself is given to provide the means and guarantee the goal's accomplishment. You who believe it easier to see your brother's body than his holiness, be sure you understand what made this judgment. Here is the voice of specialness heard clearly, judging against the Christ and setting forth for you the purpose that you can attain and what you cannot do. Forget not that this judgment must apply to what you do with it as your ally. For what you do through Christ, it does not know. To him, this judgment makes no sense at all, for only what his Father wills is possible, and there is no alternative for him to see. Out of his lack of conflict comes your peace, and from his purpose comes the means for effortless accomplishment and rest.
So, as is common, there are many threads there. I want to point out two specifically here. Is it talks about in pursuing the path of truth, pursuing another goal with far less vigilance than it takes to pursue the ego's goal, far less effort. This is very interesting. The Holy Spirit takes far less effort than trying to maintain an ego self. And what is the goal? It's described in many ways here. It's the dedication to truth as God established it. And we can use lots of words to describe it, but it's the holy purpose of a healed relationship, a holy relationship. And what it says is that you will be given the means to achieve the goal and guarantee the goal's accomplishment. You will be given the method, the way to accomplish the goal. We read earlier, first, you must decide you want the goal for yourself. Because if you don't want peace, then teaching you how to find it is not helpful at all. You have to want it first. And then you can learn the means for finding it. Later on, it tells us at the close of the previous section, from his purpose comes the means for effortless accomplishment and rest. And so, effortless accomplishment, the accomplishment would be the dedication to truth as God established it and all the benefits that come from that. But the means come from the purpose. In other words, you adopt the purpose for yourself, and then the means come to you. Translated into terms of peace, you decide you want, above all else, I want inner peace. And then the way for you to obtain inner peace will be given to you. Now, what it doesn't tell us there is what are those means for accomplishing this goal. And that's what we're going to find out in the reading for this session.
How bitterly does everyone tied to this world defend the specialness he wants to be the truth? His wishes law to him, and he obeys. Nothing his specialness demands does he withhold. Nothing it needs does he deny to what he loves. And while it calls to him, he hears no other voice. No effort is too great, no cost too much, no price too dear to save his specialness from the least slight, the tiniest attack, the whispered doubt, the hint of threat, or anything but deepest reverence. This is your son, beloved of you as you are to your Father, yet it stands in place of your creations, who are son to you, that you might share the fatherhood of God, not snatch it from him. What is this son that you have made to be your strength? What is this child of earth on whom such love is lavished? What is this parody of God's creation that takes the place of yours? And where are they now that the host of God has found another son whom he prefers to them?
Mm-hmm. Another amazing opening paragraph. Uh, Two things. One, in order to pursue this path, we must learn to hear the voice of the Holy Spirit. And the key to hearing the voice of the Holy Spirit is that you want to hear that voice above all else. For in other words, as long as you are interested in hearing the voice of specialness, you will hear no other voice while you listen to the voice of specialness. In other words, the voice of specialness is a block to your hearing the voice of the Holy Spirit. Everything in this program is the undoing of the ego influence. In the absence of any ego, truth fills your every thought, your every feeling, your every impulse. It's all about you willingly and gladly relinquishing the voice of the ego. In the second half of this paragraph, they introduce a new metaphor called your son. And maybe you didn't know that you have a son you didn't know. Well, it turns out you have two sons. The first son is what we would call the son of the ego. It's your giving birth to this false identity called the ego. It's your son. It's just a symbol here, right? Because we know it's not in the physical plane. It's not biological. It's a creation of mind or a miscreation of mind. So your specialness is your son that you've created. You've fabricated in your own mind an image of a self that follows the laws of specialness, the laws of chaos. We normally call it your ego, but I think this is actually a more clever way of phrasing it. It's your special son, and that's one son, and we've talked about that often. But you also have a holy son, and the holy son obviously follows the laws of holiness and of healing and of inner peace. And that is all the thoughts and choices and feelings that you have that contribute towards the light, towards your finding inner peace. These are your creations. These are your experiences, your contributions in time and space towards creating a forgiving world. And that becomes your holy son. And again, it's not biological, it's not a person. It's a body of experiences which are uniquely yours. Your experiences are your experiences. But these are the ones that the Holy Spirit looks on with light and love. And the Course later tells us that they are part of us forever. Your experiences with light are a part of you forever. So that's it stand so your creations who are son to you, and because you create your own holy son, that means that you share the fatherhood of God. For the Father has created his holy sons, that's whom we are. And we create our holy son through our creations in light. And that means that we share the fatherhood of God. This is not a one up idea. This will appear again. The Father wants you to share in all of his nature, and this is his means of enabling us too to be the fathers to our own creations. Okay, so and life, the Course would assert that in every hour of your day, of every day, you are contributing to one or to the other. Heather?
So would the sun being referred to, would that be also like our soul self?
I think that's fair, Heather. Yes. Um, what I'm that would be one interpretation, and I think that's a fair one. The way you described it, Heather, would be perhaps in terms of my soul, Jonica's soul, Heather's soul, Susie's soul, et cetera, et cetera. So there would be many sons there. And so that's certainly valid. There are also ways of looking at this, not to make it too complicated, where we're all contributing to the creation of one son, the supreme son, the supreme self. And so both ways are true. More than one thing can be true at the same time. Susie?
Yeah, I just wanted to comment on something different. It just jumps out at me so much. And while it calls to him, he hears no other voice. Because I remember when I first got here, I didn't think there was another voice. I thought there was just this insane voice in my mind and my story, and that's all I thought I was. Yeah, 100%. And it's just so, I'm just so grateful. I just have to express that to understand now that that's not at all who I am at all. And like Bill and Helen, I knew there had to be a different way. And of course, Heather told me this is where I needed to be. But it's unbelievable that the voice was so strong. And that's all I listened to. And this first paragraph is just incredible to me.
Yeah, it is.
But so grateful that it's not like that anymore.
Indeed. We have much to be grateful for. Let's go on.
The memory of God shines not alone. What is within your brother still contains all of creation, everything created and creating, born and unborn as yet, still in the future or apparently gone by. What is in him is changeless, and your changelessness is recognized in its acknowledgement. The holiness in you belongs to him, and by your seeing it in him returns to you. All of the tribute you have given specialness belongs to him and thus returns to you. All of the love and care, the strong protection, the thought by day and night, the deep concern, the powerful conviction this is you, belong to him. Nothing you gave to specialness, but is his due, and nothing due him is not due to you. How can you know your worth while specialness claims you instead? How can you fail to know it in his holiness? Seek not to make your specialness the truth, for if it were, you would be lost indeed. Be thankful, rather, it is given you to see his holiness because it is the truth. And what is true in him must be as true in you.
Mm-hmm. So if I were assigning a writing assignment, I would do so with this very first two sentences. What does it mean to you? The memory of God shines not alone. What is within your brother still contains all of creation. The memory of God shines not alone. So I'm going to leave that for you to ponder. What we are brought our attention to here is all of the tribute that you have given to specialness belongs to your brother. For in other words, in our unconsciousness, we've been paying a tribute to our own specialness. But if we were to repurpose that tribute, we would make tribute to the light in our brothers. We would still be making a tribute, but now instead of doing so to our own self-made self, we would be doing so to the light that is in our brother. And that in that shift is everything, because what is within your brother contains all of creation. And so, what a fascinating question to then ask. How can you know your worth? Just pause on that for a minute. How? In the absence of a specialness drama, set that aside. How then can you know your worth? Well, while specialness claims you, you cannot. But setting your specialness aside, you can know your worth, but because it is given you to see your brother's holiness, because it is the truth. And by recognizing the worth in your brother, you can know your own worth. But by focusing on your own specialness, which would seem to be worthy, you actually diminish yourself. This is consistent with the way we've experienced relationships throughout the course. Heather?
Yeah, it just occurred to me that it's like saying that some part of the body, the hand is more important than the foot or the ear, but apart from itself, it's nothing. But my specialness, the worth is in the whole body, and my worth is being part of the whole body. There's no specialness in being apart from it. So that image really helps me understand why it's all inclusive, because apart from the sonship, I mean, apart from the body, those parts of my body don't work. It needs the rest of the whole body for it to be a part of one. So that was just kind of helpful for me to see that as an example. That's all.
Yeah. And it does, Heather, I'm sure you know, say in the course that apart from the sonship, individually, we have no meaning at all. The meaning of our existence, of our life, of our self, holy self, is found in creation, in all of creation, in the whole. So this is a lens on which you can look on everything, because the memory of God shines not alone. The memory of God shines on everything equally, and every part contains the whole. What is within your brother contains all of creation. This is a perceptual shift of recognizing the unity and totality of creation, all parts interconnected, all parts of equal worth. But the ego path of trying to sort these things out would look to one's specialness and entrap one in what's called the ancient prison of the ego, and you would never be able to recognize it as the whole because of the paying tribute to one's own specialness. Okay, so it is a gift. It's given you to see your brother's holiness. Why? Because that is the truth. And the goal, the dedication to truth, the goal of truth requires that we recognize the truth, and the holiness within our brother is the truth. It's fundamental, foundational.
Ask yourself this: can you protect the mind? The body, yes, a little, not from time, but temporarily. And much you think you save, you hurt. What would you save it for? For in that choice lie both its health and harm. Save it for show as bait to catch another fish, to house your specialness in better style, or weave a frame of loveliness around your hate, and you condemn it to decay and death. And if you see this purpose in your brothers, such is your condemnation of your own. Weave rather than a frame of holiness around him, that the truth may shine on him and give you safety from decay.
Well, well, well. So it is very clear that they're referencing the physical body here and one's attitude of the physical body. And the question is then, what would you save the body for? for what purpose would you temporarily attempt to save your body? And the purpose is a choice. And in that choice lies both the health or harm to one's body. For if we use it for our own specialness and the long list of things here, including bait to catch another fish, I think that's a wonderful line. To save your body as bait to catch another fish, then you use the body for purposes that eventually bring harm. But if you use the body as a messenger for truth to fulfill the goal of truth, then you bring health to the body. And so the way they suggest this, and I'm still seeking to understand what this means, weave a frame of holiness around your brother, that the truth may shine on him and give you safety from decay. Again, if your purpose is the goal of truth, remember, holiness of your brother, it's given to you to recognize holiness in your brother because it is the truth. And if you then see a frame of holiness around your brother, the truth will shine on him, and that will give you safety from decay. And I'm pretty sure we mean bodily decay here. So the question then is, how in practice, when you're walking down the street and there's someone coming towards you, you may have never seen them before, how do you weave a frame of holiness around him? I would suggest you practice, that you can't get it wrong, that you practice and let the Holy Spirit show you how to weave a frame of holiness around your brother. After all, this is not an intellectual endeavor. This is an endeavor of hearing the voice of the Holy Spirit guide us in these things. And who better to teach you how to weave a frame of holiness around your brother than the Holy Spirit? Practice.
The Father keeps what he created safe. You cannot touch it with the false ideas you made, because it was created not by you. Let not your foolish fancies frighten you. What is immortal cannot be attacked. What is but temporal has no effect. Only the purpose that you see in it has meaning, and if that is true, its safety rests secure. If not, it has no purpose and is means for nothing. Whatever is perceived as means for truth shares in its holiness and rests in light and safely as itself. Nor will that light go out when it is gone. Its holy purpose gave it immortality, setting another light in heaven, where your creations recognize a gift from you, a sign that you have not forgotten them.
Wow, there's so much in every paragraph. Let's deal with the second part here, because earlier we talked about you have two sons. One of them is your holy son. It's a product of your creations. Well, how does that happen? It happens when you hold a holy purpose in mind. And when you do that, it gives your thoughts and words immortality, and it sets a light in heaven. This is where your creations recognize a gift from you. For in other words, When you set yourself for the goal of holiness in any given encounter, the product of that on a spiritual plane is what we call your creations. It contributes towards your holy sonship. This holy son that we referenced earlier, your creations contribute to that. And this can happen anywhere because it's, as it says here, anything, whatever is perceived as a means for truth, shares in its holiness. You can't get this wrong. If your intention is for truth, then that will always be honored by the Holy Spirit, regardless of the outcomes on the worldly plane. What it does not say that on the physical plane and in the world, things will always be hunky-dory and like the Garden of Eden, but it does say that your efforts to share in a holy purpose will set another light in heaven. Susie, you might be able to help me with this. In the introduction, it says nothing.
Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Therein lies the peace of God.
Okay, and that's in the introduction. Well, here's an elaboration of that. What is immortal, what is eternal, cannot be attacked. What is temporal has no effect. What is unreal does not exist. What is real cannot be threatened. What is unreal has no purpose and is a means for nothing. So there's a level of reality of what is real in the mind of God. It is immortal. It cannot be threatened. It cannot be attacked. And it never changes. And anything that is outside of that reality of God's creation is a temporal appearance that has no lasting meaning. It's but temporal and has no effect. And this goes contrary to philosophers in our world, even to our own perception. If you see a fly land on your food, you might become triggered by it and make a big drama about it. We would say clearly that's temporal. That has no lasting effect. It's not an everlasting reality. It's a temporal incident, but cannot have any enduring effects. And so many people struggle to internalize this viewpoint because it really is the internalizing the distinction between time and eternity. That's why we will continue to repeat it so that hopefully one day it makes perfect sense to you. And it just seems like spiritual reason would tell me that only God's creation is eternal, and that's where all purpose lies.
The test of everything on earth is simply this: what is it for? The answer makes it what it is for you. It has no meaning. Was that wrong, Jonica? No. The answer makes it what it is for you. It has no meaning of itself, yet you can give reality to it according to the purpose that you serve. Here you are but means along with it. God is a means as well as end. In heaven, means and end are one. and one with him. This is the state of true creation, found not within time, but in eternity. To no one here is this describable, nor is there any way to learn what this condition means. Not till you go past learning to the given, not till you make again a holy home for your creation, it is understood.
Not till you make a holy home for your creations. Is it understood? Will it be understood? So, clarification, there is a state of true creation that is not found in time, it's found in eternity. In time, this is not describable. You cannot use words in time to describe this state of eternity, nor is there a way to learn what this condition means. For in other words, eternity, you can't learn about eternity. We don't try to teach that in the Course of Miracles because it's not something that you can learn. But you can understand it, but to do so, you must go past learning. Susie, I don't know that we've covered this in the past. You must go beyond learning to what is given. Creation, God's entire plan of creation and all its attributes are given to us as a gift. When you go past learning to the given, then you will go past learning and you will be able to understand this state of true creation where everything is perfectly united. Both the goal and the means to the goal are both perfectly woven together as one. So there's no distinction between the goal and the means to get to the goal. So that's eternity, which we can't teach about. It's not describable. What we can teach about is time. So let's shift to that, which is in the first half of this, because we're talking about the test of everything on earth and in time is always, this is a major teaching of the Course, what is it for? And the truth is, any situation has no meaning until you give it a purpose, until you decide what is your part in that. And this is applicable to all situations. It has no meaning of itself, but you can give meaning to it. And this is where your ability to choose for the goal of truth, to choose for the goal of holiness and holy relationship is your opportunity. In the absence of any purpose at all, if you just I think most of my life, I walked into situations with the attitude, let me just see what happens and then I'll respond to whatever happens. Like I had no sense of purpose whatsoever going into situations. In the absence of a sense of purpose, the ego will rush in and fill that space for you. So you have to make a choice there. And it's therefore, in time, you become the means for achieving a purpose, a goal. You are the means. Your choosing is the means. And so we summarize this whole body of ideas of your role in it as what is it for? It's also summarized in one of the workbook lessons. Where would you have me go? What would you have me do? What would you have me say and to whom? Heather?
I like that. That's like a precursor, but it also can be used when there's an experience that I don't understand what happened. that I can also use it on that and say, what was this for? What was this to teach me? What's the lesson in this for me? So it can be used proactively, and also at the other end, if things happen you don't understand, you can ask, what's it for?
Reactively. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. All right. We'll deep teachings here.
A co-creator with the Father must have a son, yet must this son have been created like himself, a perfect being, all-encompassing and all-encompassed, nothing to add and nothing taken from, not born of size, nor place, nor time, nor held to limits or uncertainties of any kind. Here do the means and end unite as one, nor does this one have any end at all. All this is true, and yet it has no meaning to anyone who still retains one unlearned lesson in his memory, one thought with purpose still uncertain, or one wish with a divided aim.
Mm-hmm. So by this point in the reading, you're probably asking yourself, where's the meeting place that we were talking about? Well, this paragraph is talking about it, but it's not in terms that you might have expected. A co-creator with the Father? Who's that? What is this a reference to? A co-creator with the Father. It's a reference to all the members of God's creation. The members of God's creation, all of us, are co-creators with the Father. And a co-creator with the Father must have a son. Back to this symbol of a son again. And what is this son? It was one created like himself, perfect and holy, a perfect being, all includes everything. It was not born of size, nor place, nor time. So it's clearly not flesh and blood, nor held to limits or uncertainty of any kind. But with this son born of the co-creator, here is where means and ends unite as one. This is the meeting place where the goal of holiness and the means to obtain the goal of holiness unite as one. This is not a place in the physical world in the sense that it's every place and any place, and it's not a time in the sense that it's at any time and at every time. It's a meeting place where you give birth to this perfect son, a perfect being. And guess how you're going to do that? This is more than, I know this sounds very sublime, but in every encounter you've ever had in your life, you've either engaged that person viewing them as an ego or viewing them as a holy child of God. Those are the two choices available to you. And only in one of them are you contributing to the light, to your creations. This is the holy meeting place.
This course makes no attempt to teach what cannot easily be learned. Its scope does not exceed your own, except to say that what is yours will come to you when you are ready. Here are the means and the purpose separate because they were so made and so perceived, and therefore do we deal with them as if they were. It is essential it be kept in mind that all perception still is upside down until its purpose has been understood. Perception does not seem to be a means, and it is this that makes it hard to grasp the whole extent to which it must depend on what you see it for. Perception seems to teach you what you see, yet it but witnesses to what you taught. It is the outward picture of a wish, an image that you wanted to be true.
Mm-hmm. So the core, we were just talking about this holy meeting place, which cannot really be learned. You can only really acquire it when learning is complete. So the course stays within the learning environment. In other words, we're going to stay within what we'll call undergraduate school here in the course. There's a graduate level beyond learning, but the course stays within the undergraduate learning. But the promise is that what is yours will come to you when you are ready. And every person that's walked this path has experienced this firsthand. It came to me very easily and simply when I was ready. And until then, I didn't see it. And so this holy meeting place is where means and end come together. The problem is during our learning journey, we perceive that the means and the ends are separate. And so the course deals with them as if they were separate. But it's important to know that that is done as a concession to our confusion. Means and ends are not separate, but we teach them as though they were, because in the realms of perception, perception does not seem to be a means. You don't realize the extent to which your own interpretation of every moment it determines the path that you take, the choices that you make. And so perception seems to teach you what reality is. You look on a situation with your eyes, the saying, I won't believe it until I see it with my own eyes. Perception seems to tell you what reality is. The truth is the perception that you choose to use defines for you what your reality is. And in the same way, before you go into any situation, you ask yourself, what is this for? Because the perception that you use will tell you what the situation is for. Of itself, the situation means nothing. If you go in thinking you're going to use it to reinforce your specialness, then that's what you'll use it for. If you go in telling yourself that you're there to see a frame of holiness around your brothers, then that's what you'll use it for. So only by the latter choice of weaving a frame of holiness around your brothers do the means and the ends come together and become as one. Paul, you had your hand up.
Oh, Jonica, just very quickly, this weaving a frame of holiness, that's not always easy to do. And could you break that down a little bit as far as, I know we touched on it earlier, but could you go over it quickly just one more time so I can just try to get a better grasp of it?
So I want to say, Paul, I don't know, but the Holy Spirit does know. And so what I suggest is the following, that at least for the next week, really for the next month, that as you go about your day and you go out into the world and encounter people, you ask the Holy Spirit to help you see a frame of holiness around your brother and be open to what shows up in your mind as you go about doing that. The Holy Spirit will teach you. And we just read, Paul, what is yours will come to you when you are ready. And so you're asking the right question, Paul. That's the same question I asked. But I think that it's a gift that is given to you because you sought for that purpose. Heather?
Yeah, I just realized that it's the lesson that helps me with that is help me see him differently, or help me see her differently. If I've already made a judgment, help me see them differently so I can see the holy frame around them instead of what I created.
Yes. Yes, we have to undo, help me see it differently than I would have seen it. We have to undo the old way and make clearing so that the frame of holiness might be shown to us. Okay.
Look at yourself and you will see a body. Look at this body in a different light and it looks different. And without a light, it seems that it is gone. Yet you are reassured that it is there because you still can feel it with your hands and hear it move. Here is an image that you want to be yourself. It is the means to make your wish come true. It gives the eyes with which you look on it, the hands that you feel it, and the ears with which you listen to the sounds it makes. It proves its own reality to you. Thus is the body made a theory of yourself.
Yes. So this is image making. We all make an image that we want to be ourselves, and we cast that image upon our body. We're going to go on.
Thus is the body made a theory of yourself, with no provisions made for evidence beyond itself, and no escape within its sight. Its course is sure when seen through its own eyes. It grows and withers, flourishes and dies, and you cannot conceive of you apart from it. You brand it sinful, and you hate its acts, judging it evil. Yet your specialness whispers, "Here is my own beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased." Thus does the Son become the means to serve his Father's purpose, not identical, not even like, but still a means to offer to the Father what he wants. Such is the travesty on God's creation. For as his Son's creation gave him joy and witnessed to his love and shared his purpose, so does the body testify to the idea that made it and speak for its reality and truth. And thus are two sons made, and both appear to walk this earth without a meeting place and no encounter.
Okay, so just to reiterate, there are two sons that we all can make. One is made through the power of our mind used for an unholy purpose by miscreating, and we project that miscreation onto our body and assume that we are an identity that is not what God identifies us as. That's one son. And the other son is consistent with all that God teaches and all that he sees us. It's a perfect being. It was created before this world was, without limit and without end. And so both of them are given birth, figuratively, in our own mind, by our own faith and power of our mind. One believing that the body is who we are, the other believing that we are the Holy Son of God. Thus are two sons made. Both appear to walk this earth with, and both, here's a meeting place. Both appear to walk this earth and appear without a meeting place and no encounter. Let's make sure it lands. These two different sons, me as a special ego and me as a holy child of God, appear to never meet. They appear to both walk the earth but never encounter each other. Obviously, the meeting place is where they do encounter.
And thus are two sons made, and both appear to walk this earth without a meeting place and no encounter. One do you perceive outside yourself, your own beloved son. The other rests within, his father's son, within your brother as he is in you. Their difference does not lie in how they look, nor where they go, nor even what they do. They have a different purpose. It is this that joins them to their like and separates each from all aspects with a different purpose. The Son of God retains his Father's will. The Son of Man perceives an alien will and wishes it were so. And thus does his perception serve his wish by giving it appearances of truth. Yet can perception serve another goal? It is not bound to specialness, but by your choice. And it is given you to make a different choice and use perception for a different purpose. And what you see will serve that purpose well and prove its own reality to you.
Mm-hmm. So, in summary, as you go about your daily life, what is it for? What is its purpose? Purpose is the fundamental, is the pivot point for all of your life experiences. They're certainly, the two sons have a different purpose. One believes in an alien will, the other believes in his father's will. So they serve a different purpose. And your perception is the mechanism or the means by which we can learn to choose again. Susie testified earlier in this session that at first her perception was such that she only heard the voice of the ego and wasn't aware of any other alternative. And she has learned with time and experience that there's another voice, and where she formerly gave her belief to her ego voice, now she's learned to question that voice and not to trust it. And instead, that she has another higher power that she can turn to. And so our perception is not bound to specialness unless we choose it to be. And it is given you, it's the plan of creation that you make a different choice and use perception for a different purpose, for a higher purpose. This is what is going to take us to the meeting place where you're using perception as the means, and ultimately that carries you to the goal of truth. And what you see will serve that purpose well. Your holy perception, this frame of holiness that you see around your brother, will serve that purpose well and will prove its own reality to you through your own experiences with it. Firsthand experience, you will know that it is real in your own mind. Your own experiences will have validated this to be so. So we're a little over time here. So the holy meeting place is where your purpose turns towards the light, and you use your own perception as the very means for achieving the goal of truth. It's a meeting place in the sense that the goal of truth is now being achieved and accomplished through your very own holy perception. It's all in our own hands to do, and to do it consistently requires mind training. I know that was a lot. That seems like the end of a chapter is always like this, like all-encompassing, transcendent level of teaching. We even talked today about going beyond learning, where in heaven means and ends are one, but you can't know those things while you're still stuck in a level of perception. But not until you go past learning will all this become obvious. Really profound ideas, ones that take most of us multiple readings and studies for it to really sink in. So be gentle with yourself, as we read just a short little while ago, that it'll come to you when you're ready. And what more can you ask for than that it would come when you're ready? All right, my loves, I thank you for your presence here. Thank you for your comments and your
Thank you,
high
Susie.
purpose. Namaste.
Thank you,
Namaste,
everyone.
everyone.
Thank you, Susie.
Thank you all. See you.
Good night.
Bye.
Peace and love.
Tell you what, I'm sick and tired of my